And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China!
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China! All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China!
Russian.
Russia!
Italian.
Italy!
German.
Germany!
Swedish.
Sweden!
Korean.
Korea!
Egyptian.
Egypt!
Nigerian.
Nigeria!
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
That's why you called Israel. Is it real? No, it's not. How did we leave there black and come back white? How did we leave there black and come back white? How did we leave there black and come back white? How did we leave there black and come back white? Can somebody answer that for me? Can somebody answer that for me? Can somebody answer that for me?
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black and the vernacular that we're supposed to have. When the schools suggest they're like the herding systems, because what they do is take the black community and they separate us. And they separate the families, and the educated, they push this, need for higher education, and us as blacks, we discriminate against each other and say, well, I got my PhD and you don't have your PhD, so I'm better than you.
And by the way, we blood of Christ. We blood of Moses.
Right.
We're not just a color in a crayon box. And if we knew that, who we really were, we'd treat each other differently. We'd treat ourselves differently. So when you say, I'm black and I'm proud, but of what? What concept are we understanding? They say, go see the African History Museum. Why do they start when the boats came? Why don't they start with the drums?
When we was kings.
No, they don't want it, but we are kings.
Mm-hmm.
But the 400 years doesn't have to deal with slavery. It has to deal with the Bible. It has to deal with us being disobedient to God.
Right.
And that's why we farm land that isn't our own. Record labels, the NBA, Hollywood. These boys be scared. They be sitting there. Michael B. Jordan be telling my cousin, like, man, I want to do what Ye do, but I'm just, I'm right here. Or, like Kevin Hart, like, man, I like that. I'm envious of what Dave Chappelle could do.
The white man is enacting a story all over the world. We left our homes and flooded the world. We smothered culture. We smothered knowledge. We erased history and rewrote it our way. Myself, my grandfather is 100% Ashkenazi Jewish. Claiming to be Jewish, Ashkenazi Jewish is just a conspiracy. White men claiming to be of tribes of Israel when I'm Germanic. I have no ties to Israel, no ties to Judaism, except loosely written history that's been whitewashed over for centuries, and you know.
From the Renaissance.
Oh yeah, right. You just you wipe everything clean. It's funny how exactly the Renaissance. It's this rebirth, but it's white rebirth. I think at the same exact time that Renaissance is happening, Columbus is sailing to America and committing genocide.
There's only one true ethnic Jew, the Mizrahi Jew, because they are Africans, and if you read the original Bible written in Phoenician Hebrew, they're not. Jewish people are not Europeans. The modern Jews in Israel are Russians or Khazars to be precise, from Russia. I learned it from my grandfather that he was because he was an Ashkenazi Jew.
I'm so glad you're here because you can bring great clarity. Can you tell us a little bit about the Sephardic Jews and how they were scattered because they went west?
I sure can.
Because the reason why I want to is because a lot of them, and a lot of people don't know this, are in the Caribbean.
They are.
In the islands.
And you're one of them. I know that.
I'm one of them.
I know that.
Because, you know, a lot of folk don't know that those roots are there. One of the first batches of slaves that came to Jamaica, they were the Sephardic Jews. It's documented.
And they're all over the Caribbean, South America, Central America, and even the South Central United States.
Wow.
And DNA testing is a factor in all this now.
Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you.
Want to say peace and blessings to everyone. I know that this is a last minute live that I'm doing here, but you know, it's a moment's notice. I didn't give you guys a heads up, but I wanted to do this lesson because, you know, someone posted and asked a great question about spiritual Israel. And I remember covering some of this when I dealt with the Christmas series. And I encourage you guys, if you haven't seen the Christmas series, go watch the Christmas series. It's in the playlist, it's on the main page. And I dealt with spiritual Israel. But I want to do it again tonight because that was a great question. And I know that many of us who have come up in the church have heard that label or heard that phrase, spiritual Israel. I've heard it a number of times. I would be told that when I would say that I am Israel, that, hey, I know that I'm an Israelite, you know, by blood, you know, and I would hear that, hey, we all are Israel spiritually. So we're going to deal with that tonight. But before we do so, I want to give some shout outs here. I know I did not do this the last couple of lives because of the amount of people we had inside the chat. And I encourage you guys tonight, just be very conscientious of what you say, what you do, because they are watching. And, you know, YouTube is really watching in this channel hard. They really monitoring this channel. So let's give some shout outs before we get into it. This is not going to be a long, lengthy lesson. It's going to be straight to the point. And we'll make sure we do lessons like this. And if you have any questions, if it's a topic that you want me to cover, or if there's something in the scriptures that makes absolutely no sense and you want me to make sense of it, feel free to shoot me a line, drop me a line, shoot me an email, or post it in the comment section on an area that you want me to cover, and I will cover it. All right. So let's go to do some shout outs here before we get started. Let's start off with my sister, Anieki. Want to say peace and blessings to you. Really appreciate the love and support. My Igbo sister, really appreciate her. Been supporting the platform for quite some time now. Really appreciate you, sister. Hope and pray that you had a great Shabbat. Also want to say peace and blessings to Cece. Want to say shalom to you. Ami Ya, want to say shalom to you. Rashida, want to say shalom to you. Jason Camphor, want to say shalom to you as well. Who else do we have here? Karima Poet, want to say shalom to you. Alexandria Leggett, want to say shalom to you. Mazion Israel, Want to say shalom to you. Who else do we have here? Mr. The Original. Want to say greetings to you as well. And family, if you have not subscribed to the We Woke Extended channel, I encourage everyone to subscribe to that channel. That is my backup channel. That is my other channel that I have. I created it a few months ago because, I could get locked down at a moment's notice. YouTube have, they placed me in lockdown a number of times this year. Last year, I was in lockdown for 9 out of the 10 months. So I'll encourage everyone to go ahead and subscribe to that channel. Right now, I think it's pushing about 1,100 subscribers. So let's get that channel up and let's put it in your subscribe it, share it, like the video, and that'll help put it in the algorithm in terms of suggested videos. All right. Want to say peace and blessings to M. O'Neill. Want to say shalom to you. That's right. We want to bring that smoke tonight. We want to give clarity to the question, spiritual Israel. There's a lot of questions that are out there, a lot of poor teachings we were subjected to when we was in Christianity, and we're going to cover that. And matter of fact, I'm going to do a lesson again, a lesson that I did a while back titled, I don't believe in God, but I'm not an atheist. I made it clear in that lesson that I don't refer to myself as a Christian anymore. I don't refer to myself as practicing Christianity. But guess what? I can still have Christ. I can still have the Messiah. I don't need to be labeled a Christian. I don't need to be labeled or be part of that religious system anymore. The very system that have enslaved our people, the very system that have done a number of things, some of the worst crimes you can ever imagine. They did it to our people, all in the name of their poor and deceptive doctrines and commentaries that they made, spun off the scriptures. All right. But anyway, I want to say peace and blessings to Nehemiah Yashara Al. I want to say peace and blessings to you. SOY, I want to say shalom to you. Who else do we have here? Yaquaba, want to say peace and blessings to you. Shalom to you. Appreciate you. Shalom ha quahal. That is saying, is it well? The assembly, right? So that could be, is it well, or it is well. That's a salutation in Hebrew. Some of you guys will say shalom. The ancient Hebrew is shalom. But anyway, I want to say peace and blessings to you, my brother. Thank you for the love and support. Rashida, shalom to you again. Who else do we have here? Did I miss anyone? All right. Charles West, peace and blessings to you. I want to say peace and blessings to my sister. Really appreciate you. The Threat Tuss 89. Really appreciate you and family. Let's show some love to her for the contributions tonight. I really appreciate you. Thank you again, sis. Let's show some love to the Threat Tuss, right? Or the Threat Us, rather, because I see the two T's, so I'm saying it Threat Tuss, but it's actually the Threat Us, right? That's right. We are the threat, teaching this truth. We are the threat. The truth is now the new hate speech, right? So really appreciate you, sis. Thank you for the love and support. Appreciate it. And apologies for butchering your name. My apologies. Sister Yvette Rivera, excuse me. I want to say shalom to you as well. Thank you for the love and support. Shalom to my brother, Devontae Israel. Appreciate you, my brother. Who else do we have here? Let's see, make sure I didn't miss anyone as others are coming on. CB, peace and blessings to you. Faithful Sister Yah, shalom to you. Michael J. Dukaman, want to say thank you for the love and support. Family, let's show Michael some love. Family, for the love and support tonight. Really appreciate you. Appreciate all of you guys. But thank you again, Michael. Really appreciate it. Who else do we have here? Tashi P. Shalom to you as well, my sister. Timothy Prince, want to say peace and blessings to you. Victor Wheatley, peace and blessings to you. Shalom to you. Let's see here. MT Esquire, want to say shalom to you. Appreciate you, my brother. Let's see, who else do we have here? Let's see here. T Dizzle, peace and blessings to you. William Smithers, peace and blessings to you. Shalom to you. Let's see here. Regina Eagle Brown, shalom to you as well. I think we got everyone here. I actually want to give peace and blessings. Shout outs to Rochelle, Yah's daughter. Family, let's show some love and support to our sister here. So tonight, what we're teaching on tonight is we're just going to touch on spiritual Israel. Got asked the question, can I do a teaching on spiritual Israel? So I want to give clarity to that and really appreciate the love and support, sis. And that's the topic of tonight. We're going to keep it simple tonight. Tonight, we just want to give some foundational teaching here. And we also want to address some of the poor teachings that we've been subjected to, spiritual Israel. So we want to give clarity on that tonight, and that is just the topic of discussion for tonight. So appreciate it again, my sister. Appreciate the support. Let's see here, Octria or Octria. Want to say shalom to you as well. Lenya Huda, want to say shalom to you. Brother Enoch, want to say shalom to you. Who else do we have here? Black to my roots, shalom to you. I'm set apart heart, shalom to you. Seal the elect, absolutely. Shabbat shalom to you as well. I hope and pray everyone enjoyed their Shabbat. Brendan L. Jackson, want to say shalom to you. Jacqueline Johnson, peace and blessings to you. I think I got everyone. Others are jumping in. All right, so we're going to get into it. I got a couple more. Brian Cook, shalom to you. And if I did not catch or state your name, please, like the old school, my grandmother used to say it all the time, charge it to my head, not to my heart. And if I see any new, people jump in the chat, I will acknowledge you as we go through. So I want to say, Yah's son, peace and blessings to you. All right, so let's go to get into it, family. I know this is a question that many of you guys have asked, right? What is spiritual Israel? Family, let's show Seed of the Sun some love for the contributions tonight. Let's show some love to Seed of the Sun. Thank you, Seed of the Sun, for the love and support. Really appreciate you. All right, so we're going to get into it here. Let's go ahead and stretch this out here, right? So I really encourage you guys, again, if you haven't seen that video, watch that video. Yes, the Threat Us 89. Yes, it's some major nuggets inside that series. I did a 4-day series. I have to finish the 5th one, right? Because there's a 5th one. That's a 5-part series, and I really use that as an opportunity to really teach identity, but also teach the delusion of Christmas, right? The paganism that's associated with it. So really appreciate you guys, but it's all good, sis. But doing this teaching, I don't have a problem with doing this teaching and just keeping it simple, right? Keeping it simple. But let's go ahead and get into it, family. Spiritual Israel. Now, how many of you guys heard that phrase, spiritual Israel? How many of you guys heard spiritual Israel? We've heard that so many times, right? How can you be spiritual Israel, right? Why do we hear that? Spiritual Israel. Out of all the different nations and groups that are out there, Israel is the only one that's referred to as spiritual Israel. There's no spiritual Japan. There's no spiritual China. Now we do with Egypt. There is the spirit of Egypt that Revelation talks about, but Egypt is a tangible place, right? That's like saying spiritual Ethiopia, spiritual Russia, spiritual Germany, spiritual. When it comes to our identity, when it comes to Israel, the church has used that phrase, spiritual Israel, right? They have taken Apostle Paul's teachings completely out of context, right? And we're going to give proper clarity on whether or not if there's a spiritual Israel. And I'm going to give you a source one of my old school sources here. I'm going to give you a source from school, right? And to give clarity for those that may have heard it or have loved ones or people you know that may be teaching spiritual Israel. No, there's always been a distinction, right? The Most High did not forget about physical Israel. The Messiah did not say he come to bring salvation to the lost spiritual Israelites. No, it doesn't work that way, family. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's keep it simple. I did enough talking here. Let's go ahead and get into the lesson. Is there a spiritual Israel? We're going to answer that question. But we're going to answer that question with replacement theology. What is replacement theology? Right? We're going to address replacement theology. We are going to address covenant theology. What is covenant theology? I'm not sure if you guys heard of these terms before. Replacement theology, covenant theology. We're gonna give clarity on these terms. So let's go ahead and just get right into it. Right, here's a source here. Paul P. Enns, The Moody Handbook of Theology, and I encourage you guys, purchase this book. This is a great source to give you clarity on the different theologies that are out there. You know, there's in Christianity, there's over 30 to 40,000 different theologies that are out there. There's over 30,000 denominations out there, believe it or not, right? All based upon someone's or a group interpretation of the scriptures, what they think is to be the proper understanding of the text. So theo, right? God per se, ology, the study of, right? So there's so many different ideologies that are out there. And this is a great book right here, The Moody Handbook of Theology. And this is what we're going to use as a source of reference, right? So let's go into it, right? Covenant theology. This is what it says about covenant theology, just so you guys can understand what covenant theology is. Covenant theology is a system of interpreting the scriptures on the basis of two covenants: the covenant of works and the covenant of grace. Right? You see, they just be making up covenants, man. But the covenants of works and the covenants of grace. Some covenant theologians specify three covenants: the covenant of works, the covenant of redemption, and the covenant of grace. So covenant theology teaches that God initially made a covenant of works with Adam. Let's start this over again. Let's read it one more time. Covenant theology is a system of interpreting the scriptures on the basis of two covenants. In other words, the covenant of works and the covenant of grace. There is no covenant of works. There's no covenant of grace, right? You know, one thing we have to say, people are good with creating labels and terms and constructs and push that as if it's biblical. See, that's one of my pet peeves is we have modern words, modern terms that are created. And then what people deceptively do, they backdate it. They backdate it. You know, like the term, let's just say covenant theology. Hey, you know what? Let's backdate it. Dispensationalism. Let's backdate it. We're going to show you that this is what they taught in the scriptures. No, that doesn't work that way, right? So covenant theology, again, is a system of interpreting the scriptures on the basis of two covenants. In other words, the covenant of works and the covenant of grace. Some covenant theologians specify three covenants: the covenant of works, the covenant of redemption, and the covenant of grace. Covenant theology teaches that God, in other words, the Most High, initially made a covenant of works with Adam, promising eternal life for obedience and death for disobedience. Adam failed, and death entered the human race. God, however, moved to resolve man's dilemma by entering into a covenant of grace through which the problem of sin and death would be overcome. Christ is the ultimate mediator, right? So we'll touch on this even more. We're going to go back and forth. I just want to give clarity here. We're going to walk through this so that way you have proper understanding of what covenant theology is. So again, Adam failed. This is what it says. Adam failed and death entered the human race. God, however, moved to resolve man's dilemma by entering into a covenant of grace through which the problem of sin and death would be overcome. All right. So again, doctrinal, and we're going to deal with this portion of it, doctrinal affirmation of covenant theology. And that's the good thing about this source, because it's going to give you, it's going to lay out whatever theology that's there. It's going to lay out what is called the doctrinal affirmation of covenant theology. And it's going to touch on the pros and cons of this theology. It's going to give you clarity on it. So the covenant of works, covenant of redemption, covenant of grace, and replacement theology. See, these are all the different covenant theologies that fall up under what we just pointed out, covenant. Right? When you get into covenant theology, these are all the different theologies that falls up under covenant theology. Right? These are the branches: the covenant of works, covenant of redemption, covenant of grace, and replacement theology. Yes, some people that I've talked to, many pastors, really don't understand and realize that covenant theology, right? Replacement theology is underneath covenant theology. It comes from covenant theology. All right. So covenant theology is also known as replacement theology. Let me say that again. Covenant theology is also known as replacement theology. One more time. Covenant theology is also known as replacement theology. All right, so let's go back to the source. I'm going to use this source to explain. So notice what it says. And I only just took a couple of bullets out of here, but some key points that'll further give that will give you clarity. But let me just go ahead and explain it just real quick. As you see here, it's in the background of the screen here. So I took some of the bullets here just so that way I can highlight it here and present it to you guys. So replacement theology, notice what it says here, is a distinctive of covenant theology, right? The terminology reflects its teaching that the church has replaced Israel in God's program. Let me say it again, right? Replacement theology, which is interchangeable with covenant theology, is a distinctive of covenant theology. The terminology reflects its teaching that the church has replaced Israel in God's program. All right. Let me read it one more time, just so that way those that are just joining in, again, the terminology, replacement theology, the terminology reflects its teaching that the church has replaced Israel in God's program. What? I want to say they believe that since Israel rejected Jesus as their Messiah, right? Actually, you guys know Yahushua, right? Some of you guys may say Yeshua, but for the sake of this presentation, I'm saying Jesus because it's in the source. So I want to make that clear, right? We're just using the term Jesus here. We're using the term God. I'm just reading the source here. We know that the Most High's name is Yahweh, right? When we say Elohim or Elohim, not getting into all of that, right? But anyway, they believe that since Israel rejected Jesus as their Messiah, God has replaced Israel with the church, right? Let me read it one more time. So I'm sure you guys have heard this before, right? And I want to say peace and blessings to Stay on Fire Ministry. Family, let's show some love to Stay on Fire Ministry. Appreciate the love and support. Really appreciate you, my brother, you and your wife, for the support of this channel, the support of our ministry. Really appreciate you. So let me read it one more time, family. Replacement theology is a distinctive of covenant theology. The terminology reflects its teaching that the church has replaced Israel in God's program. They believe that since Israel rejected Jesus as their Messiah, God has replaced Israel with the church. Israel no longer has a future, right, in God's program. The promises that God has made to Israel have been fulfilled in the church. So this is what they teach. They are teaching that Israel are no longer the Most High's chosen people, which that is not biblical whatsoever. Paul made that clear in Romans, not getting into all of that. But they teach that this generic term church, right, which came into us, actually it's a Celtic word, but the usage of it within Christianity, or should I say Catholicism, didn't begin until the 4th century. Christ never died for the church. That is a generic phrase. That is a label, a word that's filled with ambiguity. So so again, they teach that the promises that the Most High made to Israel have been fulfilled in the church. This integration of Israel as a nation and the dispersion of the Jewish people, or should we say the people of the Most High, Israel, not Jewish, because Jewish, right? That is, again, when we look at that word Jew, that is a transliteration of a transliteration of a transliteration that developed in the Old English, French, right? But that word is actually, in its initial conception, is a transliteration of Yahwadah, right? Some of you guys would say Yehudi, right? Which is Judah. Judah, the tribe, Judah, the son of Jacob, Judah, the southern kingdom, Judas, which is Judah, right? But it was not used, synonymously with the word Israel, because guess what? Everyone that's a descendant of Judah can be Israel, but not all of Israel can be Judah. Likewise with the tribe of Issachar, right? All those within the tribe of Issachar can be considered an Israelite, but not all the Israelites are descendants of Issachar, right? Because again, 12 tribes. So this integration of Israel as a nation and the dispersion of the Jewish people among the nations is an added argument that replacement theologians use to advance their belief. Since the church has replaced Israel in God's program, the promises made to Israel have been or will ultimately be fulfilled in the church. This is what is being taught. Again, this is Paul P. Enns, the Moody's Handbook of Theology. Now, notice what it says here. Replacement theology developed over the centuries. Augustine, this is telling you that, hey, Augustine was teaching this back in between 354 AD to 430 AD, or actually, I believe this is his birth right here, actually. But Augustine championed replacement theology, covenant theology, teaching that the church has replaced Israel, right? So replacement theology developed over these centuries. Augustine viewed Israel as having been replaced by the church. He believed the promises originally made to Israel would be fulfilled in the church. Church leaders such as Jerome and Chrysostom, right? Or Chrysostom, invoke harsh polemics against Israel, against the Jews, right? Through the Dark Ages, anti-Semitism became prominent. See, remember, we covered anti-Semitism. That's a modern construct that's backdated, right? Now, don't get me wrong, right? Many of these church leaders or church fathers or theologians, they didn't like Israel. They did not like Israel. But again, through the dark ages of anti-Semitism became prominent, culminating with the atrocities of the Crusades against not only the Muslims, but also against Israel. The dominant view during these centuries was that God had rejected the Jewish people and replaced the Hebrew nation with the church. Let me say that again. The dominant view during these centuries was that the Most High had rejected Israel, the Israelite people, the blood descendants of Israel, and replaced Israel as a nation with the church. Unquestionably, the hostility of the people towards the Israelites affected medieval theology. So again, replacement theologians, guess what? They point to Galatians chapter 3, verse 29, which they say shows that sonship to Abraham is spiritual and not physical. All right. So I want to give some shout outs here. My apologies. I only have one monitor. I'm going to pick me up another screen. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I want to give peace and blessings to Yah's son family. To show Yah's son some love, so that way, really thank everyone for the contributions and all. Really appreciate you, Yah's son, for the love and support of the platform. Appreciate you, my brother. Black to my roots. Appreciate you, my sister. Appreciate you all for the love and support and family. Let's show some love for them. Let's thank them for their contributions to this platform. Really appreciate you again. Right. So thank you again. All right. So again, let me take this down here. All right. All right. Let's see here. All right. So thank you again for the super chat. Thank you again for the contributions. All right. So replacement theologians point to Galatians chapter 3, verse 29, which they say shows that sonship to Abraham is spiritual, not physical. Let me read it one more time. Replacement theologians point to Galatians chapter 3, verse 29, which they say shows that sonship to Abraham is spiritual, not physical. So let's go to Galatians chapter 3, verse 29. Let's see what it says. And then we're going to use the Moody's Handbook of Theology that's going to give you proper clarity. See, family, when you're dealing with people that especially in the church, that are part of these different religious systems, you have to understand sources. We have to give them sources, right? They don't want to hear you just talk about scripture. They want to hear you go into sources. And even though you may go to sources, some will still hold on to their ideology, but it's still good to give sources. So here it is. This is Galatians chapter 3, verse 29. And this is what it says. And if ye be Christ, then are ye Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise? So this is what they use. This is what the church use. Those that are teaching spiritual Israel. Again, Galatians chapter 3, verse 29. This is Paul's letter. And if ye be Christ, then are ye Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. So let's go back to this source, right? Because this source is really going to give you proper clarity, right? In the summary portion of this particular chapter about covenant theology. I didn't go into the details of it. I just took some bullets out so I could give you this presentation. So again, I encourage you guys to purchase that book. But nevertheless, this is the summary evaluation of covenant theology. Let's see what the summary says, right? It says this: summary evaluation of covenant theology. Notice what it says. It says scriptures related to Israel. An example, Ezekiel chapter 30, verse 25 through 28, are made to refer to the church. Let me say that again. As it's giving us an example here, scriptures related to Israel, for example, Ezekiel 36, verse 25 through 28, are made to refer to the church. Matter of fact, let's see what it says here. Let's bring up Ezekiel here. Let's give you some visuals here. All right, let's give some visuals here. All right, let me pull up the online Bible. Right, I like to give visuals. So let's pull up the online Bible. And I want to say thank you for the love and support Really appreciate you, Elijah. Really appreciate you for the love and support and family. Let's show some love for our brotherhood. Thank you again. Really appreciate it. Thank you again for the contributions. Thank you, my brother. All right. So let's pull up the online Bible here. Let's see here. So that way you can read it and see exactly what it says. Let's see what it says here. Let me pull it up. Ezekiel. We're going to go with chapter 36. All right. Let's pull it up here. All right. We're going to go to the Bible Gateway. And now I'm going to share my screen so that way you guys can see exactly what I see. Let me pop this out like this. All right. So let's share this screen here. And I'm going to read exactly what it says. All right. So let's share this screen. Let's remove this here and let's stop this screen share. And let's do another here, share screen. We can always pull that slide back up. And let's go to Ezekiel chapter 36. All right, here we go. Let me zoom it in so you guys can read it. All right, this is Ezekiel chapter 36. And like the source said, let's go down to verse 25. All right, let's go to verse 25. All right, and notice what it says. All right, and this is what what Moody is referring to. This is one of many passages that they use to take out of context to justify that theology that the church has replaced Israel. And it says here, a new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you an heart of flesh, and I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them, and ye shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your Elohim. Some of you guys would say Elohim. So this is the passage. This is the text that they actually use here. One of them, not all, but one of the texts that they use. Let me get this out of here. Let me go back here. I'm not trying to join this. All right, let's go back in here. I was trying to get you to join something, right? Let's go down to verse 25. All right, so this is what they use here. This is one of the passages, as we see within the source that we use. It mentions Ezekiel 36, verse 25 through 28. And again, it reads, then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean from your filthiness, and from all your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart of your flesh, and I will give you an heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them. And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your most high. I will be your Elohim. So that's the passage that they use. But notice here, notice who is it referring to? Therefore, say unto the house of who? Israel, right? This is not dealing with church when we're doing the proper exegete of the text. Well, when we get into the exegesis and, anyway, not getting into that. When we get into all of that, properly going into the text, allowing the text to speak for itself, not interpolating the text, we see the proper context. This is dealing with Israel. It has nothing to do with a generic descriptor called the church, right? The scriptures are not ambiguous as what it's being taught right now, right? Ye mountains of Israel, right? We see it starts off, it's dealing with Israel, has nothing to do with the church. And this is another chapter. Let me go to another chapter here, right? You guys remember, you guys know this chapter, right? You see this is one of the most preached passages during revival. And I'm sure you guys have heard this one before. And I want to give some shout outs here. I want to say peace and blessings to RCLM. Thank you for the love and support. Really appreciate you. And family, let's show some love to RCLMs. Let's show some love and support to this brother for the love and support for this platform. I want to say peace and blessings to old friend, man. I want to say peace and blessings to Azza Fingers. I want to say shalom to you, my brother. Hope all is well with you. Really appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Really appreciate you. All right. So again, fam, this is one of those passages that you hear taught a lot during revivals in the summer, especially. Just about every revival in the summer, if you grew up in the church, or if you in the Baptist church, or if you in Kojic, if you in the Methodist church, the AME church, you're going to hear this passage, right? And they will teach this passage right here, right? For we're having revivals in the church. This is one of the passages that they teach, right? But they don't, they always tend to skip out this part right here. When we get to verse 11, then he said unto me, son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel, the whole house. So this would be Ha, Kal, Bayath, Yashara'al, right? This, he said, these bones, this is the entire house, the whole house. This is all the Israelites that are in a state of confusion. So I'm sure you guys have heard this so many times, this passage being taught at revivals. And as you see, it is referring to Israel. So let's go back to this presentation. Let's go back here. Let me remove this. Actually, let me bring it back up. All right, let me bring back up my presentation. Let's go back to it. But I just wanted to just at least read the passages that this source is highlighting, right? So let's go back to my presentation. Where is it? Here it is. All right. So again, we're reading this summary evaluation of covenant theology, right? Which is interchangeable with replacement theology. So it says scriptures related to Israel are made to refer to the church. Other such areas of legitimate distinction need to be considered by covenant theologians. Right? In the fifth bullet of this source, because as you see behind here, there's a number of bullets, but I'm just highlighting just a few of them. But I'm going to read bullet number 5. Notice what it says. Replacement theology's major weakness is that it must resort to hermeneutic of allegorization. In other words, allegories, right? They have to come up with allegories and metaphors, right? To try to make, take that square peg and put it into that circle or triangle box, right? They resort to verbal gymnastics. That's what we call it growing up, verbal gymnastics, right? They want to make things into an allegory. But at the same time, right, they get mad when the conscious community try to say that the scriptures, that Paul said that the scriptures, Abraham is, the whole story of Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar are allegories, which that is completely incorrect. But that's what many that try to force that square peg into that triangle or that circle, right? They are resorting to hermeneutics from a perspective of allegories. So Israel is made to mean the church, right? All of Israel. And this is one of the problems that many, even within this awakening, have. They don't know how to make the distinction between Israel and the distinction of the institution or system of church. Now, guess what? The first African Baptist church, they identified as being Israelites, but they still at that time, they professed to be Christians. They made a distinction between being Israelites and being Christians and being part of Christianity. They made it clear, right? They refer to the men, fathers in Israel, mothers in Israel, even the troublemaker in Israel. So we see here, it says replacement theology's major weakness is that it must resort to hermeneutic, and hermeneutics is just an approach of how you approach ancient texts, right? Of allegorization, in other words, allegories, metaphors. So they have to make Israel into an allegory, right? In order for it to force that square peg, right, into that triangle block, right? So to make it interchangeable or synonymous to the church. However, a lexical and concordant study of the word Israel will demonstrate that Israel is never used in an allegorical sense. It always means the physical posterity of Jacob, right? And this is the Moody Handbook of Theology, right? One of the top theological seminaries in the country, making it clear that replacement theology, covenant theology has to resort to allegories, making Israel into an allegory, right? In order for them to use it interchangeably with the church, that word church, okay? Allegorization is not objective in its interpretation. It is subjective. In other words, this is opinionated, right? And leads to a serious question. If the text concerning Israel can be allegorized, what else can be allegorized? See, that's what they're saying. If you're going to say Israel's allegorized, or is an allegory, then what else? You can't be selective, right? You can't be, superimposing what you think, what you want, and how you feel over the text. Because if you're going to say that Israel is an allegory, then you're going to say Christ is an allegory, because Christ comes from the Israelites. He's a blood descendant of Israel, right? Coming by way of who? Judah. So if you're going to say Israel is an allegory, then you're saying Christ is an allegory. If you're saying Christ is an allegory, then you're saying the Holy Spirit is an allegory. And if you're saying the Holy Spirit is an allegory, you are saying the Most High is an allegory. Right? So we have to put things in its proper perspective. So that's what's happening. That's how they make it fit. So again, if the text concerning Israel can be allegorized, what else can be allegorized? Liberal theologians take this concept to a final conclusion by allegorizing the claims of Christ, thereby denying Christ's deity. So guess what? If you making Israel into an allegory to make sure to try to force this narrative that there is a spiritual Israel, then you're saying that that Christ is all spiritual, that Christ is an allegory, right? He's not just spiritual, he's an allegory. He did not come walk in the flesh among us. That's an allegory. That's what they're teaching. When you say Israel is an allegory, you're saying Abraham is an allegory. You're saying Isaac is an allegory. You're saying Jacob is an allegory. You're saying Moses is an allegory. All the prophets, all of them, everyone that come through Israel, they are allegories. So that means that you're teaching that Christ is an allegory. Okay, so that's the flaws. Bullet number 6. Scripture is clear that the Most High has not abandoned the Hebrew people, did not abandon the Israelites. Let me say it again. I'm just reading from the source, family. I'm sourcing up tonight, like I always do, but I'm going to read it again, right? The scripture is clear that the Most High has not abandoned the Hebrew people. What? It again. I'm going to do it in slow motion. The scriptures is clear that the Most High has not abandoned the Hebrew people. For the people in the back. And let's give it a 3-piece for those that are teaching this deception. Let's give them their order to go. So the scripture is clear that the Most High has not abandoned the Israelites, the Hebrew people. Paul raises the question and then gives the categorical answer. He says this, I say then, God has not rejected his people, has he? Right? So he's raising the question and then he gives the answer. May it never be, for I am to an Israelite, a descendant of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. The Most High has not rejected his people whom he foreknew, right? So let me read it again, family. See, this is where, again, this is coming from the Moody Handbook of Theology. And we see that it's clear that the Most High did not forget about Israel. Paul never taught a spiritual Israel. That's these deceivers. That are those with these agendas to replace Israel and put themselves as being the Most High's chosen people. I want to say peace and blessings to Apostle Curtis Lewis, aka SCM. Family, let's show the elders some love and respect. This is my friend. This is my buddy. Really appreciate you, Apostle. And I'll drop the link if you want to jump on. Once I get, I'm almost at the end here, but if of this lesson, it's a short lesson. But if you want to jump on, if you have time to jump on, I will drop the link inside the comment section. And family, if you have not subscribed to his channel, subscribe to his channel. He has a YouTube channel and he's out there in the trenches. He's fighting this good fight against those naysayers that are out there. So I appreciate you, Apostle. And I'm going to drop the link. Matter of fact, I'll drop the link right now. And you can jump on whenever if you're able, you're more than welcome to jump on. Let me drop this inside the chat. All right. All right. So scripture is clear that the Most High has not abandoned the Hebrew people. Paul raises questions, right? And then gives the categorical answer. I say then, right? God has not rejected his people, has he? May it never be, for I am to an Israelite. Wait a minute. I thought identity didn't matter. But Paul is making it clear that he is an Israelite. He is a descendant of the physical Abraham, not a spiritual Abraham. Paul said he's an Israelite by blood, not by spirit. He is a descendant of Abraham by blood, not by spirit, of the tribe of Benjamin. He's not of the tribe of Judah. He's of the tribe of Benjamin. But he's, the Benjamites are connected with the southern kingdom, which is Judah, the kingdom, right? But anyway, so Paul made it clear, and that's what this source is telling you, the Moody Handbook of Theology. May it never be, for I am to an Israelite, a descendant of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. The Most High, God, has not rejected his people whom he foreknew. So again, scripture is clear that the Most High has not abandoned his people, right? So the doctrine of the Nicolaitans or Nicolaites, guess what? They teach covenant theology, right? Covenant theology, the Nicolaites, if you study that, if you go back to Revelations, you'll see in Revelations, they're mentioned twice. The Nicolaites, the name actually means the destruction of people, right? They destroy, they have a purpose, they have a point, they have an agenda to destroy the Israelites, right? So I encourage you guys, again, watch that Christmas series and you'll get the full lesson on that, right? On this here. So the doctrine of the Nicolaites, right, is replacement theology. And guess what? Christianity, Catholicism, they are under the influence of this doctrine because they're teaching that the church replaced Israel. They're using church synonymous with the word Israel, with the people of Israel, people of the Most High. So replacement theology, again, this is quoting out of the source I use, the Moody's Handbook of Replacement Theology. It says this: replacement theology's major weakness is that it must resort to hermeneutic of allegorization. Israel is made to mean the church, right? Israel is made to mean the church. Here is another example, that Matthew chapter 16, verse 18. And I say unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell should not prevail against it. This is another one of those key verses that the church used to say that the church has replaced Israel. This is what Christianity used. This is what Catholicism used, right? They use this passage here. Catholicism would use this passage to say that Peter is the first pope. That Peter is the first pope. Peter is the replacement of Christ, right? Because the Pope, Papa, right? They are referred to as the vicar, right? Vicar, replacement, right? Of Christ. That's what they refer to the Pope as. They refer to the Pope as being the replacement, the substitute of Christ. So they are saying Peter is the substitute of the Messiah. And that's not biblical. That's interpolation to the fullness, right? So when we see here, this is one of those passages that Christianity used to push the notion of replacement theology, because you see church here, when actually I'm going to show you what the proper translation of this, right? So what did the Messiah mean when he said, upon this rock, I will build my church? Well, I'm going to give you the answer. Here it is. The word church is a transliteration of a transliteration, right? That transliteration is ecclesia, or some would say ecclesia. But let's see what this word means. This is coming from a comprehensive strong dictionary of the Bible, Hebrew and Greek dictionary with in-depth definitions. Remember, the Moody Handbook of Theology says that you can use concordances, the dictionaries, lexicon dictionaries, to prove that there is a physical Israel, that the church, this generic term, did not replace Israel. Well, notice here, right? Notice the definition that you see highlighted: a calling out, a religious congregation. I don't like that definition, because I don't like that entry, because the Messiah did not teach a religion, right? The Most High did not give Adam a religion, did not give Noah a religion. Matter of fact, Adam did not teach his sons a religion. He taught them culture. He taught his sons the spirit of holiness, the will of the Father, the law, statutes, and commandments. Noah did the same. They did not teach religion, right? So a calling out, assembly, right? But then we see this transliteration, church. But we're going to break it down here. But notice in the sub entry, it says this: a gathering of citizens called out from their homes into some public place, an assembly. But let's go to the sub entry of this entry here. It says the assembly of the Israelites. Family, you can't get around it. You cannot get around it. Now, let me take this out so you can see it in the background. And matter of fact, right, you see it right here. I was going to delete this here if this was covering up or blocking some of the text. But notice what it says here. So no one can say that or question my integrity, because you got people that are doing anything they can to try to question my integrity, right? So a gathering of citizens called out from their homes into some public place and assembly. So we see here, called out. They are called out. But who is that calling out? That called out people. It's right here. The assembly of the Israelites. That's who the Messiah is referring to, right? Ecclesia means called out congregation, right? Within the context of the Holy Scripture, right? Ecclesia means the called out, the assembly of witnesses, Israel, right? The called out, the assembly, call of witnesses, right? Idoth Yashara'al. Let's confirm this. Let's confirm this term with scripture, right? Let's go to Exodus chapter 12, verse 6. This is what it says. And ye shall keep it, and this is dealing with the Passover, right? Keep it up until the 14th day of the same month, right? We're dealing with the Passover, we're dealing with the lamb, right? Of the same month. The whole assembly, this is where you get ha, kal, quahal, right? The whole assembly, we got it right here. Kal, quahal of the congregation of Israel. Idoth, Yashara'al, right? Shall kill, shakat, it in the evening. I rob. So, but notice this here. The whole assembly, right? Instead of congregation, actually, the proper translation would be the whole assembly of witnesses, the Israelites, because Israel is witnessing. The Most High is calling them to witness this miraculous thing that he's about to do with them with this particular plague, right? The death angel, how Israel, all of Israel is spared. Not a single person lost their life, right? And they took the blood of the lamb and covered it over their door, right? So they were protected. But we see here again, the whole assembly of witnesses. That's what it's going to, that's the proper translation. But let me prove it to you, right? Let's start with the origins of the church. And then we get to that. I think I have it inside this presentation. If not, I will copy it into this presentation if I did not put it in here. Let me make sure, right? Yeah, I'm gonna have to copy it in here, right? Because I didn't copy it in. I'll copy it in here because I have that available. All right, or I'll just switch over to one of the presentations that have the breakdown of those words, right? So let's go to the origin of the word church, right? This is coming from Dictionary of Phrase and Fable by the Reverend E. Cobham Brewer. Let's see what he says, right? This is an old source, right? This book, this dictionary is like 1840 something, right? So as you see here, it says church. The etymology of this word is generally assumed to be from the Greek kurioikos, kurioikos, in other words, the house of God. But this is most improbable, as the word existed in all Celtic dialects long before the introduction of Greek. No doubt the word means a circle. Let me say it again. Let me read it again. Let me read this again, right? So that way you guys understand exactly what it says here, right? So that way we're on the same page. Let me read it one more time. The etymology of this word, in other words, this word church, is generally assumed to be from the Greek. So let's give it a side. That are teaching that, pushing this word here. It says kurioikos, in other words, house of God. But this is improbable, most improbable, as the word existed in all the Celtic dialects long before the introduction of Greek. No doubt the word church means what? Circle. Let me read it one more time. The etymology of this word is generally assumed to be from the Greek kurioikos, which means house of God, but this is most improbable as the word existed in all the Celtic dialects long before the introduction of the Greek. No doubt the word means circle, but it doesn't stop there. The places of worship among the Germans and the Celtic nations were always circular. What? Read one more time. The places of worship among the Germans and the Celtics or the Celtics, guess what? It says here, the Celtic nations were always circular. Right? Witness the cromlechs of Stonehenge. So Stonehenge they are circular. Those stones are circular. That is the church. They should be mad. That is the original church. Stonehenge is circular, right? It's also a compass. It's used to tell time. It's used to they can literally pinpoint when there's going to be an eclipse. They can also tell you what date that the spring equinox or the fall equinox or which they will also refer to the autumn equinox. They can also pinpoint the solstice. Both of them, one that's in June, which is like June 21st, June 22nd, and also the winter solstice, which is the period of like between the 21st and 22nd. This is where you start getting into the Saturnalia and all that other stuff. Right? Stonehenge, that is the first church. So it says here, witness the complex of Stonehenge, and it gives some other examples: Avonbury, Silbury Hill, Stanton Drew, the dolmens of Brittany, and the relic shrines of India. Right? So it gives you some additional information on here. And we see here, compare Anglo-Saxon circe, a church, with circle, a circle. So that word church is interchangeable with circus, interchangeable with the word circle. You can't get away from it. Words have meaning. So the Messiah never said that on this rock I'm going to build a church. On this rock I'm going to build a circus. On this rock I'm going to build a as we see here, circus, circle, church. He never said that. The proper Hebrew is as I transliterated, I'll say it in Hebrew: ha, kal, quahal, ha, adath, yashara'al. In other words, the whole assembly of witnesses, the Israelites. That's the Hebrew. Christ spoke Hebrew. He spoke to his brothers and sisters in Hebrew. That's what the Messiah was referring to. So let's deal with the prophecy of the crafty council, and then I'm going to bring up a presentation so that way I can give you proper clarity on what I pointed out about the witnesses, right? The called out witnesses, the assembly of witnesses. But notice here it says prophecy of the council crafty, prophecy of the crafty council. This is coming from the 83rd book of Psalms. You guys are already familiar with it, but I'll just read it real quick. All right. Starting at verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O Elohim, hold not thy peace, and be not still. This is not dealing with, when we see peace here, we're not dealing with shalom. Some of you guys would say shalom, right? When it says and be not still, it says hold not. So we'll see the Hebrew word, you'll see karash, right? Which means to be quiet, right? But still knock, right? You'll see peace, be quiet, still knock, right? Settle down, right? That's the ark. The ark settled down on top of the mountains. So the Hebrew term, and the Messiah used this to calm the storm, would have been karash knock, which is peace be still. But from a Hebraic perspective, it will be la or la'ah knock, right? Or la'ah karash, la'ah knock. Or we can say la'ah karash knock, right? Hold not thy peace and be not still, O Elohim, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult. In other words, Hama, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Verse 4, they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, right? Let's cut off the three pillars that constitutes a nation, right? That defines a nation according to Genesis chapter 10. What are they? Land, family, and tongues. All three of Noah's sons had land, family, and tongues designated for them and their descendants. So let's cut them off. Let's take away their land. Let's mix up their families, bring confusion to their families, like as we read in Ezekiel chapter 37, because that valley of dry bones simply means a confused people. Israel was so confused, right? To the point that the prophet didn't even know that he was dealing with Israelites. The Most High had to tell him, these are Israelites. They're so confused. Confusion is all among us because we don't know who we are. You remember in that passage, it says, right? Israel said, we are lost. We are cut off from our parts, right? We are cut off as a people. There's a lot of confusion going on among our community right now. So they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. In other words, let's take away their language. Let's take away their territory, their property, and let's redefine what family is. That the name Hashem, Hashem Yashara'al, or, well, yeah, actually, that's what it is, right? Name means reputation. It means character. Well, what is the reputation of Israel? It's their relationship with the Most High. So it says that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate. They are in alliance. They have a constitution, right? Confederate, right? Barayath, right? Barayath in the ancient Hebrew, Barit in the Israeli language, but it says they have consulted together and with one consent, akad, one consent. They are confederate against thee. So this crafty council came together. Well, what is tumult, right? In Hebrew is hama, but what is that? Well, let me explain it to you. It says here to make a loud sound. So they are making a loud sound. The enemies of Israel. And when you read the entire 83rd book of Psalms, you'll see that these are Israel's crazy cousins. You'll see the Ammonites. You'll see the Moabites. You'll see Esau's descendants. You'll see the Ishmaelites. You'll see these different groups. Some of them are Israel's crazy cousins who have pledged to destroy Israel by any means necessary. We know Esau have a history of entering into agreements with the enemies of Israel to make a loud sound, to be in great commotion, to rage war. Sound, be in an uproar. So in a nutshell, what Hama is, it is a war cry, right? To make a loud sound, to be in great commotion, to rage, war, be in an uproar, right? So let's see what war cry means. It says here, a cry used by a body of fighters in war. A cry used by a body of fighters in war. And here's the key: a slogan used especially to rally people to a cause. That's what a war cry is. So the crafty council, right there, letting out a war cry to come against the people of the Most High. That's what this is saying. The Hebrew definition of confederate, as I pointed out, notice what it says, as I pointed out, right? I said it in the ancient Barayath, but in the Israeli language, Barit, notice what it says. Confederacy, right? Federate, confederate, covenant, league. But you'll also see the word constitution, right? That is synonymous to this. Covenant, alliance, pledge. We can also add asiento, right? They are in agreement to come against Israel. So confederate means covenant. All right. So 10 kingdoms came together and created a covenant to destroy the Israelites, wipe away our memory. Let's go back here. Let's go back to the passage here. Let me rewind it here. Right. Let me see if I put it in here. Yeah. Let's go back here. Notice what it says here. right? It says they have said, come. This is part of their war cry. Come, let us cut them off from being a nation. Let's take away their land. Let's take away their families. Let's take away their tongues. Let's separate them. That's what happened on the Transatlantic World War. They completely dissected our families, scattered us abroad, that the name Hashem, Yashara'al, may be no more in remembrance. So the reputation of the Israelites by having a relationship with the Most High, the reputation of honoring the law, statutes, and commandments, which covers even their diets. Look at the diets of Yah's people today. We're not eating like we should. We're not healthy like we should be because we're eating the things of we eating foods of the gods of our oppressors, foods that they sacrifice to their deities, right? Not to our Most High. Right? We embrace their educational system. We embrace everything of the enemy. And guess what? Now we are in a place now we don't even know who we are. That's calculated, family. That is calculated. Right? So let's see here. I think that may have been the last slide, but let me go ahead and add this in here. Let me do one more thing I said I would touch on. The witnesses, right? So let me pull up that real quick. Let me pull that up real quick. And family, again, there is no such thing as a spiritual Israel. Don't let anyone fool you with that nonsense. There is no such thing as spiritual Israel. That is a very deceptive teaching. All right, let me pull it up here. Let me see. All right. Where is my? All right, here it is. All right, I'm going to pull it up here, family, so that way you guys can get clarity of exactly what I pointed out. Congregation, congregation assembly. Let's pull it up here. Let me see. All right, let's see here. That's not where I'm looking at. All right, here we go. I'm going to pull this up. This is another presentation, but this is going to give proper clarity. All right, let's pull this one up. All right, here we go. Right. Now, here we go. We're getting ready to close out, but I want to give you proper clarity on what I pointed out. So right now on your screen, you see where it says whole, call, congregation, Idoth of Israel, right? So if we go here, if we go to Exodus chapter 12, verse 3, this is where we see Israel being, for the first time, a whole, as a nation, they are being referred to as a nation of witnesses, right? It says, speaker to all, call, the congregation, Idoth of Israel, Yashara'al, right? This is the first time, again, this term is used to describe an entire assembly, right? So when we see here, we see in the Israeli language, it's Adah, in ancient Hebrew, Adath, right? Or Adah or Adath, we see here testimony, witness, but this is not the primitive root, right? Which we're going to get to the primitive root. So congregation, right? As we go back here, it says that we see the word testimony, witness. So congregation, this is the word that's there. Testimony, witness, not congregation, witness. So congregation, Idoth, means a witness of people, evidence, right? And these are the letters that you see in ancient Hebrew, in the passage, the text, right? The first letter is the Ayin, right? Which means eye, sight, watch. Now I'm just using these letters to give you the definition, the meaning of this word to confirm it, right? Eye, sight, watch. Then we see the Dalath, which means door, gate, lid. And then lastly, we see the Tha, right? Which means, let me pull it up here, sign, mark, evidence. So in order to be a good witness, you have to have clear vision of what you're watching, or you have to have, your ears have to be in sync with what you see. You have to properly see what what's in front of you, and you have to properly hear. Right? That's a good witness. Also, you have to be focused, because basically the dalath means focus. If we took these two lines off these 2 points off the triangle, right? If we took 2 of the points off of it, 2 of these lines out, and just took that line and put it across here, it'll look like the lid that covers and protects an eye. So a good eyewitness has to what? Have great vision, right? They have to be focused of what they are witnessing, to bear witness of. And guess what? They have to produce the signs, the mark, the proof, the evidence. So who are the witnesses, Idoth, of people? Guess what? It's the Israelites. The whole call, assembly, Qahal, of the congregation, Idoth, of Israel. So when we go to the word assembly, you're going to see Qahal. See, I refer to our assembly as the whole assembly of witnesses, the Israelites, right? Because of this passage that I'm highlighting here. So Qahal, right? I don't refer to us as being a church. We're not a church, right? We are Ha-Qahal, or Ha-Kal Qahal Idoth Yashara'al. We are the whole, right? We are the whole assembly of witnesses, the Israelites. So Qahal means together. It means to assemble, gather. So when we look at ecclesia, right, it means a called out group of people, a called out group of witnesses, the Israelites. So we see Qahal and Idah, right? They put those two words together, and then you have the assembly of witnesses, the called out assembly of witnesses, because they are gathering themselves. They are coming out of their homes to come and receive the instructions from Moses in Exodus chapter 12, right? Assemble selves together, right? So Israel's place of worship is called a mashkan, right? So the entire call, right? Entire call, assembly, Qahal of Israel is to witness Idah to the fulfillment of a key prophecy. But let me go here. I thought I had it here. That may be in another presentation. Let me see here. Let me make sure here. All right. I thought I had it all here, because this is my Passover. Actually, it may be in another one. Let me pull up another presentation. All right. Let me pull up another one. This is a different one, right? Let me pull up the other feast one. I think I have the full the full words there that I want to use here. Let me see here. Let me bring that up real quick to make sure I give you proper clarity, because it was some meat, like my grandmother would say. I left some meat on the bones. This is the one I should have come to. All right. Let me see here. Let me make sure. And then we're going to wrap it up. Yeah, I didn't have this, the primitive root word, right? I didn't have the main definition here of being, let me bring this one up. All right. And I think I still missed it, but still, the key is, you see here, a witness, testimony, a recorder, right? And then when you click on, go to 5749, that is the primitive root, and it'll mean the same, a witness, a recorder. So guess what? We are supposed to be recorders of the things of the Most High. And the key is the playback, right? The playback. That is going to determine who is a good witness, is through the playback. All right. So I hope this helps you guys. I hope that answered the question of spiritual Israel. As we pointed out, there is no such thing as a spiritual Israel, right? There's a tangible Israel. There's a physical Israel. The Most High did not do away with Israel, because if he did, he broke his promise with Abraham. So there's no such thing as a spiritual Israel. All right. So I hope this helps you guys out. I hope you guys got blessed with this. Let me take this down here. It look like my thing is not coming up like it should. All right. Let me make sure that it's displayed like it should. All right. That should do it, family. I hope and pray that this blesses you guys. And feel free to, when we wrap up this conversation, that you could continue on in the comment section. If there's any other things that you want me to touch on, we'll get back into the some of the prophecies of Revelation. I want to go through the whole book of Revelation. As a matter of fact, we'll go through, do some special teachings on the book of Numbers, because I think that we need to really understand the book of Numbers, because then we'll start understanding the book of life, right? The Lamb's book of life, right? And going through the book of Numbers, that's where I got the revelation and realized through the book of Numbers that as Israelites family, we are born with our name in the Lamb book of life, right? Our goal is not to have our names placed in it, right? Because guess what? Our names is already in it. Our names is already in the Lamb book of life. All right. But the key is we got to keep our names in it. That's the goal. The goal is we have to keep our names in the Lamb book of life. And I'm going to prove that when I do the series on Numbers. So when our names gets taken out of it, that means that we've been blotted out. All right. But with that being said, I'm going to bring Elder on here, Apostle Lewis on here. Really appreciate you, Apostle. Really appreciate you, the love and support. I'm going to bring you on here. Let me put you up here on the screen. How are you, Apostle?
Shalom, Pastor Kelly. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, I tell you, I just had to jump on for a few minutes just to thank you for this teaching. I'm telling you, you knocked it out the ballpark. I see why the enemy don't like you, because you are tearing down the walls and the bricks that the enemy been building for years in our community. So thank you for this teaching.
Oh, I appreciate you, Apostle. And that's one of the things, and you can relate to it, going to seminary. For me, it was just going to seminary wasn't something I went because I wanted to for prestige. I was told when I was in Kojic, hey, you have to have a seminary degree in order to be an elder. So I was like, all right, okay. I just did it as the requirement. But I wasn't pressed to go, for prestige. I just wanted to know the arguments, of if I hear a preacher preach, and I could tell, I could just hear through their teachings what the theology they subscribe to. And a man of your stature and status, I'm sure you could relate to that, because you too have gone through these the seminary schools as well. So really appreciate you.
Exactly. And Pastor Kelly, I had to renounce all of that stuff because we came up in this Western Eurocentric training system in almost every area of our life. And that's why I feel for the urban apologists. I pray for them a lot, because they don't have a clue that they are just promoting the oppressor's doctrine. And everything I learned in the seminaries that I was familiar with and the preachers that I grew up with, it was completely against our people. And they all about replacing Israel, but Israel cannot be replaced. We in a revival now. A lot of people call it an awakening, and I do too, but it's a revival. It's a refreshing. And Peter talked about that in Acts chapter 3, and it can't be stopped. No matter how much they hate it, it cannot be stopped.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I believe, like, this time that we live in, even though there was other periods of being awakened, but I believe that this period that we live in is like an awakening like never before. That's really, confirming the scriptures, confirming prophecy. And I believe that this awakening we see is so many things shift. So many shifts with this particular awakening. We even seeing the signs, signs that we never thought we would see, like with the pandemic, that just took place, so yeah, I'm in total agreement. That's why they're mad at us, because we're touching on things that many refuse to touch on, and we giving clarity. We have sources to support it, sources that was not within our grasp before.
Exactly. This is an exciting time to live in, and even though we have many enemies and many coming at us, man, I'm rejoicing and loving it all, because guess what? In the end, we win. You can't stop it. This, like you said, this is an unusual awakening, and I have lived long enough and been in ministry and in the kingdom long enough to see different movements down through the years. I remember the charismatic movement. I remember some of the William W. Seymour overlap. I remember different things, but this is different, Pastor Kelly. This is different, and I agree with you 100%. We are in some exciting times, and the enemy can't do nothing but get mad.
Yeah, and we're just gonna continue to press forward. We're gonna continue to press forward, and
you keep doing what you're doing, my brother, because I tell you, you are literally explaining it, making it simple, teaching the house of Israel. And like I said, it don't matter the backlash. In fact, I grew up in this stuff because I've been challenging different things in love and according to the scripture for going on 43 years, so this stuff is not new for me. But I had no idea that the Father would bring me to this awakening and then put me in this world of Christianity to deal with things. But I'm happy to be doing what I do. And like I said, I didn't just fall off the turnip truck. I've been doing this for years, so I can handle the attacks. It don't matter whether somebody love me, like me. I love everybody, and that's all that matters. But it don't matter what they say, what they do. They can't stop us, and we can't be blocked. And so I love your ministry. Keep doing what you're doing.
Appreciate it, Apostle, and likewise. And I'm not sure if you heard of this Bible. I have Ya's son posted a question. The OASP Bible. Have you ever heard of this Bible here?
Not really. I think that's my first time. Yeah, this is my first time hearing of this Bible.
Yeah, I'm going to do a teaching on this because I taught on it. Did something on this when I was dealing with different Bible translations years ago. I dealt with the what they call it, the Aquarian Gospel, that the more science they use to come up with the circum-7 and all that stuff. And this person here, I believe his name is John Newbro. He's a guy that a dentist who came up with this Bible back in the 18th century, and it's way out there. It's way out there.
Wow.
It's filled with Freemasonry and things along that line. And as Ya's son pointed out, the conscious community and other people are using this to try to discredit the holy text.
Wow.
And most of those guys don't have a clue of what we learned in school is the different manuscripts. They don't understand that the Bible translations are, many of them are based, all of them are based upon transcripts. Well, I ain't gonna say all of them, most of them, because then you have the paraphrase Bibles and all that other stuff. But like this Bible right here, it is a dentist, right? Somebody who's a dentist came up with his own Bible version and what he thinks.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna be all ears when you get on it, because like I said, I love it when you break all this stuff down. It helps our community and it just makes it plain. So bless the Most High.
Yes. And I appreciate you, Apostle, for the love and support, the words of encouragement, because like you said, a lot of people that are opposing us, it's not because they can make an argument against what we teach.
Right.
So they purposely are trying to defame and slander to make it so that way our testimonies are good for nothing among the people.
Right.
Right. And that's the same that the 10 spies did with Caleb and Joshua. They gave an evil report to make it so that way, not just their testimonies, but the Most High's promise is good for nothing among the people. And that's what they're trying to do with us. You know,
Right.
they can't beat us in terms of they cannot go into our teachings and critique it. And because if they did, they probably walk away from what they're doing altogether.
Exactly.
So they have to come up with a, build up a, this nonsense of a straw man, so to speak, and argue against the straw man.
Exactly. Exactly. And you know, all this stuff comes with the territory, but what they don't realize is what the enemy meant for evil, God always turns around for good. And I noticed your subscribers done went up since the last attack you had. so
And
you
they don't realize it,
you
right?
can't lose for winning, brother.
Yeah, and I mean, when they first started attacking, I was at about 2,500 subscribers. So
Wow.
now I'm getting another bump because they're bringing more attention, right? Since they started their
all we can
foolishness,
tell them is bring it on. We made for this. You know, we made for it. So it don't faze me at all.
exactly. We're the people of the book, right? Because in Exodus
right.
it says every time, for every scheme that the Egyptians tried to do, to everything they tried to do to suppress Israel, they continued to grow.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
they're just confirming the scriptures. They're confirming how resilient we are as a people, and people just want to hear truth. And I believe what they're doing is bringing more attention. And when people hear the truth, they can't go back to that lie.
That's right.
Right. And
You
so
can unlearn it.
yeah. So I just sit back. I'm like, okay, the Most High is going to deal with them. They got to deal with their consequences. But what they're doing is the Most High is taking their evil and using it for the good of us, his people.
That's what he's doing. That's what he's doing.
It's hard to believe. My channel only been up for it's three years now, but I actually started really posting on it and utilizing it like 2.5 years ago.
Right. Wow. Well, the Most High is blessed, man. And one thing about it, you're not scared to address the truth. And that's what we need, men and women out here that's not afraid of the enemy. And we don't back down because we know the Most High is with us. And if Yah be for us, who can be against us?
Absolutely. And let's plan a session. If you have a topic you want to cover, or I could come up with a topic, but I would definitely want to have the people hear you more and grow your channel.
Sure,
because you put in a lot of work, and I really want the people to know your work. And family, again, if you have not subscribed to his channel, subscribe to his channel. And matter of fact, Apostle, I'll let you introduce your channel. Tell the people about your ministry, your location, so that way, if those that are in your area, they could come fellowship with you.
Right. Yeah, we are here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and the name of the local assembly is the House of Israel at SCM, Someone Cares Ministry. And I started the congregation, and I licensed and ordained a local pastor to function in the house. I still oversee it, but he basically pastors the house for us. And our YouTube channel is under Apostle Curtis Lewis, and I spell Lewis Louis. If you just type that, if you go to YouTube and type in Apostle Curtis Lewis Louis, you'll pull my channel up, and then you can subscribe. And we're also on Facebook, but we're doing a lot more work now on YouTube. And I don't mind dealing with any of those urban apologists. I don't mind dealing with any of those seminary professors, because I understand their mindset, and most of it is wrong.
Absolutely. And really appreciate you. I'm getting your link right now, because I want to drop your link inside the chat.
Yes, sir.
Let me do it right now. And where's your what number for what's your number for subscribers?
Right now we at 374, and it's kind of moving a little slow, but I appreciate you sharing it with the body. And we got a lot of good materials on there, and you can go to it, and it's all scriptural. And I don't back away from being Israel.
Great. And we have the threat us. She says here she's in Louisiana. She'll check you out. And family, I put the link to Apostle Curtis, his YouTube channel. Let's get him up to at least 1,000 subscribers. Let's make a major push to get him up to 1,000 subscribers, because he's really putting in a lot of work to defend our community, and really appreciate what he's doing. So let's show our appreciation. And I'm going to have Apostle on here again, just so that way you guys can actually hear him teach, and so that way we could get him, really get his channel out there. So we have the threat us is from Louisiana, and guess what? We have somebody else here that supports here.
In Baton Rouge. Well, blessings to the Most High Yah.
So really appreciate you, Taishi. Really appreciate, she's been supporting the platform for a while. So I encourage you, Taishi, reach out to Apostle. His ministry information is there, and feel free, come, show some support, go out and visit. This is what we're here for, right? We're here to really build up our community and do things the right way, support each other, because this time and date that we live in, we need to come together like never before, because you have people that are using the scriptures to attack us, right? To attack us as a community. And we have too many, I would say, free agents, so to speak, that are in this community. And when that, with that happening, it's really compromising, us as a community, because we have so many people doing their own thing. So we need to really establish one voice, and collectively we start knocking down a lot of the poor doctrines and a lot of behaviors within our community. Exactly. So yes, Apostle, again, really appreciate it. Is your address on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, you can go to our YouTube channel and you can find our email and our webpage. The website is someonecaresministry.org. And if you pull that up, you can get all of our information, phone number, address, everything you need. That's someonecaresministry.org. Or like I said, if you go to the YouTube channel and you'll see our email address, you can email us and we'll give you information if you have any problems with it.
All righty. So family, I put his YouTube channel up on, his website up on the screen, someonecaresministry.org. And let me place his YouTube. That's his YouTube channel up there as well. So I encourage everyone, subscribe. Let's subscribe to his channel. Let's get his channel, get the numbers up on his channel. And also, We Woke Now Extended. Encourage everyone to subscribe. Thank you for getting that channel over 1,000 subscribers. So we have an alternate or a backup channel. So if I go to YouTube jail again, which I've been in YouTube jail a lot, so you guys can have an alternate channel to go to, and you can just put some food on my canteen, my commissary, Yes. But again, Apostle, really appreciate you. Any final words or encouragement you want to share with the people, and then we'll do our garbage can as we get ready to wrap up. But any final words that you want to?
Yeah, I just want to encourage my brothers and sisters in Israel in the chat, and even those that are engrafted in. Let's look up, because our redemption draweth nigh. Let's stay focused, not be moved by anything. Now that we're woke, it's a good thing. We can still see the enemy fighting hard. We see clearly what he's doing and what he has done to us. But the Bible said, let's encourage one another daily while it is called a day. The Most High got it in control, and we are not going backwards. We're going forward. And Pastor Kelly, keep doing what you're doing, my brother.
Appreciate you, Apostle. Really appreciate you as well. And family, I'll put information about the Feast of Dedication coming up in December. I'll advertise it early. So if you guys that are watching want to join us and fellowship with us, We're located in the Virginia area, and we don't charge for anything. We don't charge. Just bring an appetite, and we want to celebrate. And Apostle, if you want to come, if you want to visit us this December or the past, so just let me know. How I already told you, you and your wife, we want to bring you guys out here. We're
looking forward to it, and I'm gonna let you know in advance, and we're definitely looking forward to it.
Great. And so, any particular people or groups or anyone you wanted to give the garbage can to before we wrap up?
Well, first of all, I want to make this clear that I love souls and I love people, but the doctrine of the urban apologists put it in the garbage because it's a slick way for the oppressor to keep oppressing our people. I've been in it. I understand it. And the doctrine needs to go to the garbage can.
Absolutely. Here we go. We're giving it the garbage can. And family, for me, I just want to put, as Apostle pointed out, those that are teaching this deceptive doctrine. For me, I want to put religion, the religion of Christianity. I want to put Catholicism, the religion of Catholicism, all these different religions and denominations. I want to put them in the garbage can because they have done a great disservice to the people of the Most High. A lot of divisiveness and division that they promote, because without these systems, guess what? We wouldn't see all these denominations, and we would not be segmented the way that we are. So I want to put them all in the garbage can.
Yes,
right.
Yes, so all 32,000 or 40,000 of them.
Absolutely. And we want to make this clear, as Apostle pointed out, we're not showing any anger or hatred towards any people. We're dealing with doctrine.
Yes.
We're dealing strictly with doctrine. We're dealing with the institution, because religion, all these different religious systems, they are institutions, right? Israelite didn't practice Judaism. They were operating and functioning in their culture of holiness that the Most High had given them, and handed down to them. So it was not all about religion, right? Christ never said that he came to make Christianity or Catholicism. He said that he didn't even say, I am Christianity, I am Catholicism. No, he said, I am the way, right? The truth, the life, right? No man come to the Father but by him. So he never said that he is Christianity. He's never said that he's Catholicism. Truth be told, he didn't even say he's a Christian, right? He said, I am the way. Apostle Paul said he's the way, right? He said he's the follower of the way, rather, right? And it's recorded in the book of Acts. So with that being said, I really appreciate you guys. And in the words of Moses in Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 and 14, he said to the people of Israel, who is ready to go back to Egypt, right? Their past catching up with them. They had a dead end. He said to them, under the instructions of the Most High, fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today, these Egyptians, these strongholds, these oppressors, these haters, right? They will not have power over you ever again. The Most High will fight for you. But here's the kicker, Israel. We're the people of the book, because this is one problem that we have with a community, as a community. He said, the Most High will fight for you, but you have to hold your peace. The Hebrew word there is karash, which means be quiet.
Yes.
Can't go back. Can't stay here. Keep moving forward. Shalom.
Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14, verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, I Isaac was the Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel.